What up, guys, and welcome back to Thomas Reacts here on the 360 Experience with myself, Thomas Mabaso. So, guys, recently the South African Police Service and Police Minister Bheki Cele have kick-started Operation Shanela. They started this operation mainly to clamp down on serious crimes here in South Africa. So, personally, guys, I'm happy that the South African Police Service is actually trying to do something about the crime that is actually taking place in South Africa. You can see how many people are being killed. You can see how many people are being raped. You can see how many women are still being abused. You can see how many kids are being abducted, illegal immigrants. It's drugs. It's a forced prostitution. It's a whole lot of mess in South Africa right now. So the police and the South African Police Minister, they were in Durban to kickstart the Operation Shanela, where the Police Minister Bheki Cele gave a speech. This is one of the most interesting speech because Bheki Cele didn't just go there to put the flowers on the police's head, but he actually went there to criticize them on some of the things that they are not doing right. So guys, I hope that you are going to stay with me. It is going to be quite a lengthy video. I hope that you got your drinks. I hope that you got your snacks. And guys, let's hear what South African Police Minister Bheki Cele and the South African Police Service has in store for us.
I feel like keeping you standing until I finish. May you all sit down. Program Director, the Speaker of Tegwini, Tatnyawas, National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, Masemola, the deputies, Provincial Commissioner, deputies, the head of prosecution in the province, Mayor Wabeni, Mamzung, RTI, and all heads of any other institution that is here. And those that are representing the structures that you work with, the youth, CPFs and all other structures. Siyanibingelela nonke. Sithi molweni, good morning, sanibona. The officers that stand before us here, who are the marrow of our functionality. If they don't function, we can't have a leg to stand here and claim to be the body that looks after South Africans and make sure that they are safe. Mapoisa, good morning. Mapoisa Nkona. Then good morning, Mankona. Good morning, Mapoisa. Nonke Mapoisa, good morning. Good morning, Mapoisa. Mapoisa, good morning. This Operation Shanela, akuwona wenu nina RTI, ngingacanga sizelo lo wena mncane beginning. We're coming with a big brother here. Operation Shanela that operates in the whole country, in the Republic of South Africa. That was conceptualized and come to operation on the 8th of May.
8th.
We started to operate and launch in July in Soweto. This operation, we saturate the streets of all major cities, towns and dormitories, starting from Thursday to Monday morning, to try to squeeze criminality and squeeze the oxygen out of the criminals and make sure that people of South Africa at all levels, especially women and children, they are kept safe and they feel comfort in their country. Since we have started on the 8th of May until now, we have arrested 99,754
What?
criminals, or well, you call them suspects. Those are omamuzungu abababiza ngama suspects. Mina waboshwa nje criminal.
So guys, you know, when the police minister says this, the first thing that came to my mind was, why don't we have these operations like constantly, instead of just having them for a few days? Because some criminals can just go in hiding for like a week or so. They know that the police will be back to their caves, and they can continue doing whatever that they wanted to do. So I don't get it, because there have been so many operations, but these operations are being held for like few days, and after a few days the crime is back again. So I'm not really sure if it really makes that impact that is needed right now in the country. As much as I'm optimistic about it, but I'm not really sure it makes that difference, because if you are police and you are going to go out maybe for like 5 days to clamp down and squeeze the oxygen like Bheki Cele says, why don't they do it like constantly? Why don't we have these operations day in and day out, so that criminals can know that they can never operate in South Africa? Because if criminals know that for the next 5 days the police are going to be all over the streets, they are just going to go into hiding. Then after 5 days they can go back to business, and the country is in danger again.
Sebeyokuseva ke bakubheka omamzungu mawugwetshwa ke amaphoyisa uya suspect until mawuboshwa nje mina 99,754 of them, they've been picked up. What makes me happy as I check of late.
And the other thing that people, after this operation, the other thing that people really need to inquire on is the conviction rate. We need to know, out of those 100,000, how many of them are actually being convicted and being thrown into jail, how many of them are being deported, because we know some of these guys, they come from outside South Africa. So we need to know how many people have been convicted. We need to know how many people have been actually deported outside of South Africa, because these are the questions that we don't really ask, because we're just happy that there's police visibility wherever we go, but we don't really want to know what really took place, what happened with the convictions, how many people are actually thrown into jail.
Most of them, they're still in custody. I would not know the number, but more than 80% of them, they are in custody. These are not just beginning criminals. These are people that have outstanding warrant of arrest for murder, for rape, for abusing women, abusing children, bank robbery, cash heist robbery, and all other serious crimes like house robberies, like car hijack, and all those things, including what the Speaker of Echewin spoke about, that man who killed those 2 women in Umkababa and buried them in the shallow grave. I'm glad to say that man has been arrested too. So that's a kind of people that we arrest. Indeed, Speaker.
And guys, sometimes we really have to give people like Bheki Cele and South African Police Service credit for the work that they do. As much as we like to criticize the South African Police Service, because it is our job to make sure that these guys, they do their jobs properly, so we are going to criticize them. But at the same time, we also must be able to say that, okay, right now you've done a good job, and I feel like they've done a good job. The only thing that I'm going to follow on is the conviction rate, to know actually how many of these criminals have actually been convicted and thrown into jail, and some of them have actually been deported. But as people, we really need to be able to say, okay, right now, guys, you've done a wonderful job. As much as we still have our own opinions, as much as we still have, we want to criticize you, but we have to say that this time you've done a wonderful job.
This city of ours is not very much out of the woods when it comes to the criminal matters. For some reason, There are 3 areas that forever lead around here. Is your Durban Central, is forever tops. Unfortunately, all centrals in the city, whether it's Cape Town Central, whether it's Johannesburg Central, whether it's eThekwini Central, whether it's Bloemfontein Central, those cities, they lead in criminality. They become central in crime. So this city, this station, which is almost less than a kilometer where we're standing, is one station that we must look after because it gives us a lot of crime. That's one. But secondly, we've got 2 stations that forever refuse to move away from the top 5 of criminality. Inanda has made it home to be number 1 when it comes to rape. There was a song here, Nyawose, ethi mawufuna ukwenza noseDurban lathini iculu mawufuna ukujiva ya lalithi mawufuna ukujiva oseDurban angazi ukuthi mawufuna ukuya eNanda uzotholani. But Inanda is one police station and one area that produces rape, production yabi rape. I can see Umlazi, Provincial Commissioner, keeps moving, at least has moved, I think, from Imeta to number 11 or less than that, have moved a little bit away. But Inanda refuses to move from number 1 and number 2 when it comes to murder. Which means, Speaker, all of us at the local level, at the provincial level, and at the national level will have to have focus, Inanda, will have to work hard that they move from that notorious number 1 position. You can't have a station that is permanently number 1 when it comes to the serious crime. At a certain given point, they'll have to move. This province has also come with other stations. Your Pleseslar in Maritzburg is one area where it's giving us problems. This province, when you go to the statistics, it leads on the mass shootings. Maritzburg, as a Bamabili, enye is a Pleseslar, enye is a Telazot, are both 10 people dead at a go. Eyasembali, Pleseslar, 8 women killed and 2 men. I don't know what kind of a man that goes in the house and you shoot and you killed 8 women. This province leads on the mass shootings.
And guys, okay guys, I hear the minister is talking about all this crime, but isn't this the result of what people have been talking about all along, that some of these criminals, they are working with the members of the South African Police Service? Isn't this the reason why some of these places, they will always have crime? It's because these criminals are working with the members of the South African Police Service. A lot of people have been complaining about that. A lot of people have said that. And I know that Bheki Cele at some point is going to tell the people that you must not take the matters into your own hands, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, isn't this the reason why South Africa has a lot of crime problem? Because it's almost as if the South African Police Service has been compromised. Now, for real, it's almost as if they've been compromised, all of them. Because people are not happy with how the South African Police Service has been performing, man. People are not happy that some of these guys, they are arrested today. Some of them, they are caught red-handed with drugs. They are caught today, but tomorrow they are released. Isn't this the reason why the crime is it is so rampant in South Africa? Because it's almost as if it doesn't matter how many operations you can kickstart. After those operations, the crime is going to go back to normal. So I wonder, isn't this the reason why South Africa is the way it is right now, it's because the criminals have actually found a way to work with the police. Because I believe that if this is the case, I feel like the police minister and the commissioner and all of them there at the executive, they really need to start looking inside the South African Police Service. They must root out those bad apples from the South African Police Service, because those are the guys who are making the institution weak. I feel like these operations, maybe they should do one operation that's actually going to look inside the South African Police Service and root out some of these people who have been alleged to work with criminals. I feel like right now is the time to do that. Because what is demonstrating right here is that after this Operation Shanela, the same places that is talking about are still gonna go there, are still gonna go back to business. It's high time that right now South African Police Service and the minister and the executive and everyone who's involved to look inside the South African Police Service. Because the other issue that people are complaining about is the issue of experience. As much as we want to give South African Police Service the credit for actually hiring people, because out of all the government departments, the South African Police Service is doing a lot when it comes to combating unemployment in South Africa. These people are hiring. South African Police Service are top there when it comes to combating this issue of unemployment, because they are hiring. They are hiring. Every few months we have the people are sending out the South African Police Service forms and everything. Like, these people are hiring, and we need to give Bheki Cele credit for that. We need to give him that credit. We need to say thank you for actually hiring our kids. But at the same time, we need to say what kind of training are you giving these guys? Yes, you are hiring them, but what kind of training are you giving these guys? Are these guys qualified to work with those criminals? Because people have been complaining about even some of these guys, like their physics and everything. People are complaining about that it's almost as if some of these guys have not been trained at all. So it also creates a problem, because if you're going to hire 100,000 people who you are not going to train eventually, then it's going to be a problem, because you're going to have 100,000 people. You're going to have 100,000 incompetent people, because they have not been given a proper training. So these are some of the issues that I feel like the South African police, like, they really need to look into. They need to look inside themselves as an institution and root out all the bad apples. And they really need to focus on the training that they are giving these young people whom they are employing. I feel like right now Bheki Cele actually needs to focus on that.
This city is part of that. If it is not at Giplands, Nyawos, it's somewhere in the west, Echelimyama. We have a problem around west of Durban, Yo Echelimyama, Yo Maran Hill. There is a problem. I don't know who told the Gebeng Uguti that is their place, and then the hostels. Both hostels are Giplands, the hostel Mashu, they give us headaches. Therefore, this Operation Shanela is for you to go and sweep on behalf of the South Africans. These criminals must not be comfortable. These criminals must not displace the law-abiding South Africans while you are there. Other thing that you are picking up here, you find that the city center and one prominent areas, we all grew up in this city, Mamzum. Used to be a beautiful city. There is a place here called Albert Park. That was a top spot in the city. There is a place called Pond Road. I don't know what to call it now. Those places were the places to be when you have come in Tegwin and you stay at Albert Park, you were living and staying in the place at Tegwin, no more. Well, I don't know what they call it now, but there is a nice place in Cape Town, in Belleville. They don't call it Belleville anymore, they call it Mogadishu. Because the people from a certain country, they've taken it over, just like they've done with your Albert Park and your Pond Road. I don't want to be misinterpreted to say that has become xenophobic.
And I feel like it is sad right now in South Africa where someone can't express whatever they feel because people are going to call them xenophobic. As much as I'm not in favor of demonizing the foreigners in South Africa, I also don't want people to feel like they can't talk about some of these things that the foreigners are doing in South Africa. They can't say those things because they are going to be labeled as xenophobic. I feel like in South Africa we should be able to talk about these things. We should be able to debate about these things. It can't be that every time whenever South Africans talk about the issues that are affecting them, especially when it comes to foreigners and illegal foreigners, some people, they just jump out and call them xenophobic. Like they are not xenophobic. They are just expressing their views. I also don't like the notion of people coming into South Africa illegally. I don't like that because if they commit crime, you can't even trace them because they are not in the system. I don't like that. I want South Africa to get to a point where everybody gets in the country legally. That's why I never supported operations like Operation Shanela, because what they were doing, they were demonizing all foreigners in South Africa. They were just gaslighting people because when there's a protest and people are angry, when they get to someone's shop or business, they don't ask whether that person is here in South Africa legally or not. They're just gonna do whatever they want to do. That's why I had a problem with Operation Shanela, because some of these guys are in the country legally. So we cannot put them into one box with those guys who are not in the country, who are in the country illegally. So I feel like right now in South Africa, it's a shame that South Africans cannot say anything right now because they are going to be labeled as xenophobic for simply expressing their views.
Whether it's xenophobia or not, you have no right to be in any country illegally. Therefore, Mapoisa at all levels, Home Affairs, Customs, you go and sweep everybody that is illegal in the country. Those people, they must be in the country legally. If you are here, you see in my pocket, or I left it, I've got a passport. Because I go to countries, I'm registered as I come in, I'm registered as I go out. If that is not happening, which means you are not supposed to be in that particular country, but the worst part of it, we are in that country and you give extra work for the law enforcement. Masemola explained this thing very well. I want to come to that thing of the law enforcement. Because you are not there to beg the criminals. You are not there to kiss the criminals. You are not there to romance the criminals. We are there to enforce the law. Awubuzi uthi ngicela ukukubopha ayikho lonto. Awuceli. The Constitution doesn't say that please beg to enforce the law. Your job, according to the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, you uphold and enforce the law. Awuceli ukuthi ngicela ukuhamba la ngepolice sihambisana cha ake uncedwe ka first year lo masambisane. Laba abafunda first year ngekhathi zethu kwakungencwadi kwathiwa masambisane. This one is not masambisane. All people that commit crime, you must enforce the law against them, and the law must take its course. Do that yourself within the law. And the law allows you, the bigger law of the country called the Constitution, instructs you to uphold the law and force it. So you go and just do that. Don't romance criminals here. Romancing criminals is when yourself you become part of criminality. National Commissioner, Provincial Commissioner. For some reason.
But our police officials are not brave, man. Our police officials are not brave. Just go to the internet, man. You can see some of these guys. They even get beaten by some of these criminals. If you remember, not so long ago in Johannesburg, some foreigners, they've actually fought with the criminals in South Africa. Some foreigners, they fought with the members of South African Police Service. They are fighting them. They are fighting them.
We are beginning to breed criminality within the police.
You have already have, man. You have already have. That's what I said earlier, man. I feel like South African Police Service, and you specifically, Mr. Cele, you need to look inside the South African Police Service. Because all of these efforts are going to be for nothing. If majority of those guys are going to go out back to the streets to do whatever they want to do, all of these operations are just going to cost the South Africans money for nothing. Looking inside the South African Police Service, it's a priority. I feel like Bheki Cele, he needs to treat it as a priority to look inside the South African Police Service. There's a reason why our people are no longer trusting the South African Police Service. There's a reason why. Some of these guys, they have been accused of taking the bribes over and over again. South Africans, like right now, they feel like they are helpless. Because even if someone comes into your house, you can't even call the police because the police are going to take few hours for them to come. South Africans right now are literally left with no choice but to defend themselves. Because if you call the police are going to take 3 hours before they get to your house. These are the issues that ordinary South Africans are faced with when it comes to South African Police Service. They no longer trust them. That's why right now, even the mob justice right now in South Africa is taking place all over the place. Right now, communities themselves are protecting themselves. Because they feel like calling the police is a waste of time. They feel like calling the police is a waste of time. Because some of these guys, the community can hold a criminal, and the police will come and get the criminal. But guess what? Tomorrow the criminal will be walking all in the streets tomorrow. Even if the community wants to comply with the police, and instead of killing this criminal, they are calling the police will come, they will get the criminal, but tomorrow the guy will be back on the streets. And this is why South Africans right now are so frustrated with South African Police Service. People are literally frustrated with South African Police Service. They have no hope, they have no trust within the institution. People cannot even give tip-offs right now, because you give a tip-off before you even know it. The guy that you were reporting now knows you are the one who gave the police the tip-off. People are being killed right now for allegedly for giving some of these police guys the tip-offs, because the criminals are going to come back. The South African Police Service as an institution, man, it is rotten, man. It is rotten. That's why I said I feel like that's why I said I'm happy that these guys are trying to do something about crime, but knowing how corrupt the South African Police Service is, it is hard for me to actually be happy that these guys are doing something about the crime in South Africa. Because we know how corrupt the South African police service are. It's hard, man. Very hard.
We're beginning to breed criminality within the police. I think we must spend a lot of energy to fight the criminality from within. You can't take these cars, as it happened in Mpumalanga, when they take our own BMW flying squad. They put illegal guns, illegal everything to go and run criminality using our own cars. And there are members of the flying squad in uniform, in the marked car, with the state resources to go and run car. If I was a dictator, Mamzong, I was not a part of democracy, I would have said, those that are within the justice system, police, magistrates, prosecutors, who break the law, I would say they needed a special prison for them, and make sure that there is no TV, there is no food. Because you can't be here to enforce the law and uphold the law and you break the law. I think there should have been an extra double kind of edge to punish those that they break the law that they're supposed to uphold.
There's nothing stopping you from doing that. There is nothing stopping you from doing that. And what you just mentioned that how jails are supposed to be. Because at the end of the day, South African taxpayers are paying for these guys' food. They are paying for these guys' TVs. So someone commits a crime, they go to jail, but they are still getting fed by South African taxpayers. You steal from the taxpayers, but the taxpayers have no choice but to feed you. But to feed you. I know they don't want to look at in that jail term. They want to call it a correctional service, but people are not being corrected anything. Because these are the things that we need to talk about. We need to talk about the success rate of people who come out of prison to make something out of their lives. We need to compare it with the people who come out of the jail only for them to go back to jail. So if they were really serious about the whole correctional service thing, many of these guys will come out of the jail to make something out of their lives. But that's not the case here. Because you are being lenient on criminals, treating them like human beings there in jail. But they are simply taking advantage of that. They are taking advantage of that. They know that you don't want to punish them. You want to correct them. But they are taking advantage of that. What you just mentioned right there, Minister, it's how the prisons are supposed to be. Because it can't be that these guys are terrorizing the South African taxpayers, and now the taxpayers have no choice but to pay for their food, to pay for their for their clothing, to pay for their television, to pay for their entertainment. Why are South African taxpayers subjected to this? Why are people subjected to this? How is it possible that you commit a crime against me, but at the end of the day, I pay tax so that you can eat? Motherfucker.
So don't do that. You know, I was an MEC here. Lo ROTI, lo Shanela, siyawazi Masemola, sawuqala kudala. There was a guy in the ROTI who was almost 18 years in the system, and he was fired for ukubhayipha ngo-300 rand. 18 years. Just imagine the accumulated pension and things that you are ready. When you go for your pension, you'll be comfortable and government will look after you But instead of, after 18 years, we are taken to prison for 300 rands. Please, have broader and bigger hearts. Ngahali, yekani ukulandela amabhodwe aconsayo. That thing is embarrassing. When you are an elite, when you are a flying squad, when people of South Africa, they are expecting you to call on you when things come, you come running to protect them. But now they are not sure what to do when they see you. You are embarrassing us. Well, like a sontweni, mfundisi kumathi, like a sontweni, umfundisi uyathethisa abakhona esontweni abawunayo abeze esontweni. Nala I know umthethisa abantu aba-right. But hambani batshela aba-wrong. Mthumani nan-right. Kuyotshela aba-wrong ukuthi yekeni le nto enenzayo ningcolisa igama lethu. Nenza abantu base-South Africa babe nenkinga nathi. And your job is to put hope kubantu base-South Africa. Your job is to be an asset, not to be a liability to the people of South Africa. Having said so, most a big number of the people of South Africa, they know that you do the good job on their behalf. I would want to pay my respect, National Commissioner, Provincial Commissioner, to the unit that have been put at KwaMhlabi-Lingana. Abantu bakwaMhlabi-Lingana, they had bad time because of criminals. They were walking in the middle of the night, and they.
And guys, you know, when this guy is talking, I'm thinking about Amaberete. Why isn't Amaberete a standard practice for our police services, man? I mean, like Amaberete, one minibus can actually what? They can police the whole community with one minibus. And people are scared of Amaberete because they know those guys are fast. Those guys, they will beat the living shit out of you. They know that those guys are enforcing the law. But for some reason, these guys are up there, but our regular police servicemen are here. Why is that so? Why can't everyone who gets into the police, why can't everyone who gets into South African police service be given the same treatment that Amaberete have been given? So that all the police officials can be like Amaberete, man. Just imagine if all the police officials were like Amaberete, man. Can you imagine how safe we would be, man? People are scared of Amaberete, man. I'm like 10 people in a minibus, man. 10 people in Quantum. Those guys are making communities shake by just passing there. They make criminals shake. Now you know that you are not committing any crime, but you get a bit shaken when you see Amaberete because you know they don't play with that nonsense. But you see our average police officers with their vans, you disrespect them. People smoke weed in front of them. People commit crimes in front of these guys, and they do nothing. You remember that time in Katlehong when the criminals actually stole a copper in front of a police station. The criminals stole copper in front of the police station while these guys were there. But those guys, they will never attempt to do that if they know that Amaberete are around. So why can't our police be given the same treatment as Amaberete? Why can't everyone who gets into South African police service be given the same training as Amaberete, man? This is why that issue of training is so important, man. Because it is so easy for Amaberete to police communities. It is so easy for these guys. These guys, they can patrol 3-4 neighborhoods with one quantum. They can patrol 4-5 neighborhoods with one quantum. You don't need a lot of them to actually make an impact, man. You can hear even when you walk around in the streets, people will tell you, hey, bra, bakhona amaberete. People are shaking. Even people who are not even committing any crimes, they are shaking knowing that amaberete are here. So why can't our average police officers be given the same training as amaberete? Why can't the whole policing institution, especially the ones that is responsible for patrolling our communities, be given the same training as amaberete? Why, guys? Why?
Cars would be taken and their wives would be raped in front of their husband. That place was a hell until there are members of the South African police that were sent there who have done a good job. They've arrested 105 criminals and found back 147 cars that have been stolen, and they've recovered them. Including 2 days ago, they've arrested
Nami, guys, I'm sorry for coughing a bit. I have flu, so my throat is not really well. But I have to do this, guys, for you because, you know, guys, I love you, man.
Including 2 days ago, they've arrested 2 notorious criminals, including the one who shot and killed uJuda Mthethwa, a well-known activist in that place. We salute for those members of the South African police. We salute for those women and men in blue who they do what they're supposed to do. We salute those that they know that South Africans, when they look at them, they are full of hope. One thing that we're encouraging with Shanela is that police and law enforcement agencies, they work closely with communities. So I'm glad to bona wena baba Mabaso. Angithiwa igama lakho wena mfana ukuthi ubani? Uba igama lakho. Funda ngesizulu, uba igama lakho. Okay, lelo gama. Mabaso.
Yimo Mabaso.
Nazo zonke izakhiwo esisebenza nazo samaphoyisa. We want to implore and work with them closely. That's why, for the first time ever, when we made the budget, we budgeted 70 million for CPFs. It has never happened before. Angazi ke ngibuzile la ku-Provincial Commissioner wakhe angingayiqiniso Mabaso ngifuna ulalele kahle. Engathi nina nile province nikwe imali engaphezulu kwa-13 million enizosebenza ngayo kuma-CPF, so nihlaleke lapha e-ofisi kaMkhwanazi ningaphumi. Aze akhiphe imali ikhona ucela uyikhiphile ya ukuze sikwazi ukusizana sebenzisane nani, kube nezinto enizitholayo enizokwazi ukusebenza ngani ninyakaze nisebenze nemphakathi, ngoba we have accepted, and it is true that if we don't work with communities, we are not going to win the war. So it is so. So you go then and work hard. The statistics tell us the bad story. There are good stories, but there is a bad story. The bad story is that more women and more children have been killed in the last 3 months in the Republic of South Africa. While the murder has gone down, while the rape has gone down, but women have been killed together with kids, more of them in the Republic of South Africa. And this province is not spared in that thing. I want to repeat this thing. Now let's take to TikTok. Commissioner, I see more young police women go TikTok.
I also feel like women in South Africa, I feel like they will always be in danger because a lot of them have said that these guys, they don't know how to deal with these issues. Women are being sexually harassed, but the South African Police Service as an institution, they don't know how to deal with these guys. They don't know how to deal with people who are being harassed. They don't know how to deal with people who are being sexually harassed. That's why a lot of women are being killed in South Africa, because I'm sure a lot of these women have already complained. They have already have what is this thing that they call this letter that prevents you from coming near someone, the protection order. I'm sure that many of these women, they have already launched the protection order, but because the South African Police Service as an institution, they cannot pinpoint that, okay, this situation right here is going to lead to someone dying. Because our women, they go to the police to complain or to lay charges, but these guys, they can't even see that, okay guys, this particular case right here is going to lead to someone losing their lives. Many of these women already have protection orders. They do. A lot of them, they've already laid charges. They do. Some of them, they go to social media because they can't find any hope in South African Police Service. Women are being attacked, and instead of going to the police, they'd rather go to social media because they feel like, if I take my story to social media and more people know about it, we can create a bit of a movement to make an awareness on this thing. That's how much they don't trust the South African Police Service as an institution itself. So right now, people would rather go to social media. People go to social media, they tell their stories, they show us the pictures. A lot of people talk about it, and before you even know it, it's a movement there, it's an awareness, and then something can happen because there is pressure from people. But that is an indictment on South African Police Service as an institution on itself. It's an indictment on the institution.
Bayadansa, benza zonke izinto lezi. Angazi afunana amaphoyisa ku TikTok. Angazi amaphoyisa afunana ku TikTok. Bayadansa, basho izinto omagama, bazi advertiser. Hey bo. Hey nina. I haven't seen more of boys. I see girls. But whether TikTok about TikTok. It's not your job to TikTok. Your job is to arrest the criminals. Now, I've seen somebody TikTok othi akamfuni ucela for one reason. Ngizoyiphinda lento so that lo muntu angangifuni kakhulu. Ukuthi inkabi eSouth Africa zivele KZN. Makufa umuntu egoli. Ukhona umuntu waseKZN obulela umuntu.
Yeah.
Makufa umuntu eCape Town. Last week, Mamzungu, 3 boys were given life for killing a lawyer that was dropping his kids in the morning in Cape Town. 3 have been given life. Baphuma show about 2. Basuka le show. Bayobulala umuntu le Cape Town. Abayazi le Cape Town baboshwa besafuna indlela. Babulala umuntu bakhomba phezulu. Ungabulala umuntu uyakhomba phezulu ufuna itaxi. Ama-taxi ambona umuntu amthatha amse emaphoyiseni. So it's true, when you look at the national picture, most of people that move around killing people, they come from this province. Lo muntu othi ucela uyabhedwa yamzonda ngokusho njalo, ngicela ngiphinde angizonde kakhulu. Angisize futhi azonde nalesenzekayo for the criminals to move around and kill the people. As I'm saying, most mass shootings, they are happening in this province.
And the police minister is also complaining about the usage of TikTok. and other social media platforms. This is why I said that the training is very important, because I don't believe that some of these people would be doing these things if they were given proper training. I feel like they are doing these things because they are not properly guided as the new members of the South African Police Service. I could be wrong, guys, but I feel like right now some of the things that our South African Police Service members do, they do them because they don't have proper training. Honestly, guys. So I feel like it's not fair for the minister to simply complain about these guys who are doing the TikToks, who are doing the social media and everything, without looking into the South African Police Service itself.
Not only that, people, they move from this province to go and kill the people. So, I'm making a clarion call on you. You go out and protect the people of this province, of this city, of this province, of this country. Be asset, be good to them. I would love all of us to work towards the community, to create the community where a young woman in the middle of the night can walk alone without the fear of attack, of rape by any man. Where young women, when they see the man this side and they see the animal this side, they will run towards the man. But at the present moment, when the women see a man in the middle of the night, they run towards the animal rather than run towards the man. Because men have become more dangerous than the animals towards the women. Therefore, I'm making a call, and my call is extra on the men to say, create an environment where our women, where our children, where our elderly will enjoy life and be in the space of safety, because man has said no to evil. I command. Thank you very much. You go and do the work.
So guys, what do you think about that? What do you think about the speech that Mr. Cele just gave? What do you think about that? Please let me know in the comment section. What do you think about that? Because personally, guys, I feel like in South Africa right now we have so many problems. I feel like the police should be divided. Maybe they should be divided to deal with certain crimes. Maybe like we should have this portion dealing with maybe illegal immigrants. We should have this portion dealing with the issue of sexual harassment. We should have this portion dealing with murders. We should have this portion, instead of trying to do them all at once. Because right now the South African Police Service, man, as an institution, it is going to need a lot. It's going to need more than just a good speech from the police minister to actually revive the institution. The South African Police Service, people don't have trust within the South African Police Service. And the South African Police Service, they know that people don't have trust in them. So guys, please tell me what you think in the comment section. And don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part, guys, please subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.